So, I'm gonna try to multitask here. I had some little boredom ball time, and I got done with my chores to shovel Scout's shit. So I'm now going to try to fill in some blanks on the interview Gord did with Tammy, because I think it was a really good interview. Move over. And I want to fill in some blanks, but I got to go do some other stuff this afternoon. So I'm gonna brush Scout, and he's gonna choose which one he likes. He likes his neck brushed, and I'm gonna wash his face because he likes to get his face washed like a little baby. And then I'm gonna tell everybody a story. Okay, Scout? Is that good news? All right, let's get to it. So, this is dirty. So in Gord's interview with Tammy, which was awesome, there's a couple things I want to fill in the blanks on. I'll turn this around so you guys not see my horses. But the EEOC case with Prime, same gender training. So here's the deal. Same gender training discriminates against women because it violates the Civil Rights Act of 1964, Title VII. And the reason that law went into effect is because prior to that, you could discriminate. You could say, these jobs are just for men, and these jobs are just for women. In fact, when I was a little kid, a lot of you might not even know this, because you are not as old as I am. I want to move your mane to the other side so we could do this side of your neck. The newspaper had listings for jobs, men's jobs and women's jobs. And they also had, I'll get it. He has an itchy on his leg. Okay. You also could discriminate against women who had kids. My mom had 3 kids. She actually had 6, but there was 3 of us. And she would have to hide 2 of us to get an apartment. Because a lot of places you couldn't rent anywhere if you had kids. So we would have to hide in the bathroom, in the shower when the landlord came when I was little. So there was a lot of discrimination. And so that law was meant to say, you can't have different rules for men and women. You can't do that. I want to face when he gets his neck. He like goes in, he starts like going into a trance. He starts getting all weirded out. So that's why the law went into effect, all right? Now, on the surface, it may seem like it's safer for women to get trained by women. But I had a woman trainer, and she was a fucking asshole. She was a bitch. She was pill shopping across the country. She never taught me how to back. Just like Tammy said, I was a mule. I was a mile mule for her. And she didn't want to teach me anything, because here's something I found out about a lot of older women that entered trucking with their husbands. Their husbands used them for a second logbook, but they never taught them how to back up the truck. So there was women, and I've talked to some on the phone, they've been driving like 15 years, but they never learned how to back up, because the husband knew as soon as the woman knew how to back up the truck, she didn't need him anymore. She just needed her own truck. So it's like a power thing. It's like a control thing to not teach you those survival skills. And the big one is backing up the truck. So when Prime started doing this thing where they were taking these women and saying, yeah, you're in. However, we don't have a trainer for you. And so some of these women were like on the hook for 18 months And Prime knew the whole time they didn't have any women trainers. Now, they also didn't want to do the hard work that it takes to make sure that they don't have any rapists who are men training, or lease owner operators who are training students. So the whole Prime model is around exploitation all the way around. The lease purchase drivers, a lot of them become lease purchase drivers. I'm going to move away from him so I can get the other side. They become lease purchase drivers because they don't want to do team driving. Here he comes. He's coming over here because I walked away with the brush. So the way they get out of being team drivers is they get in lease purchase. And then they realize they can't make enough money doing lease purchase. And they go to the company and they say, you know, I'm working all the time and I can't make this lease payment and take time off, you know. And they're like, well, you could become a trainer. And so they become a trainer and they're making more money because now they got another logbook. Now see how they just changed from the student that was exploited to the trainer who is now in the power position to exploit. These are not people who are training material. They are people who are wanting to get out of the employer-driven debt they got sucked into, and they're resentful. They're not in it to teach people. They're in it to survive. And that's where you breed people who are on a power trip, who are fucking asshole trainers, who don't give a rat's ass about teaching you what you need to know to survive, because you're just another logbook to them. Now at Prime, and it's a lease purchase trainer, the Prime does not pay the student. The student is paid from the lease purchase operator out of their paycheck. So here you are, actually a misclassified worker, paying a misclassified worker. So that has 2 degrees of separation from accountability if something goes haywire, right? Now, the EEOC it was actually Paul Taylor from the Truckers Justice Center that took the case. And Paul Taylor is like a legendary law firm for truck drivers. They do a lot of DAC abuse cases, and you should really look at his significant cases. And there's a lot of videos on our YouTube channel about Paul Taylor's cases. So he took the EEOC versus Prime case, and then EEOC joined in the case. And the judge found that, yes, same gender is discriminatory because all men are not rapists. There's good men trainers and there's shitty female trainers. The problem is Prime doesn't want to do the hard work to get rid of the bad ones and get the good ones and do it the right way. That was the nuts and bolts of the case. What trucking is trying to manipulate, and now this problem has grown. There's a lot of companies doing this hiring discrimination now, where women call up and they say there's a waiting list for women. It's illegal. It's been illegal since 1964. And that was another thing that they said, the judge saying there. It'd be one thing if this was a new law and the world was just getting used to the idea that you can't discriminate against women and have different rules for women than you do for men, and let the men just go right out and make money and the women are sitting on the hook, not their skills are getting stale and all of this kind of stuff. But you're assuming that all men are bad instead of just doing the hard work to find out who's a good trainer and who should not be training. Now, the trucking industry, the women in trucking industry, tried to get elected representatives to introduce an exemption for trucking so that trucking could discriminate against women. An exemption from Title VII, the Civil Rights Act of 1964. They so far have not been successful, but I think that they're going to try again. And that's why I really want people to understand what I'm talking about. On the surface, it sounds like, yeah, women should be with women and men should be with men. Women have attacked women. Women have assaulted women. Women have sexually assaulted women and men. Men have killed men. Women, I had a woman who was chased down the street by her trainer with a fucking knife. Scout, just settle down. I know you want me to rub your butt. Hold on. He's like, change the brush. So I want people to really not just dive into this same gender thing without understanding what's going on. If the ATA and Women in Trucking go after this same gender exemption for trucking of the Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, all they're really doing is making it legal to discriminate. And it's not going to solve the team driving, unsafe training. It's not going to solve assaults because murders have happened and assault still happens in same gender. All it's going to do is make it so they are not furtherly not accountable than they are right now. Okay, I'm going to rub your neck. It's going to be okay. He's like, just shut the fuck up and brush me. So that's my rant on that. I'm going to rant on a couple other things that came up. Yes, I was at the White House. Action plan. I was with Raman Dillon. I was with Sheree Moore, She Trucking. What a sellout. The ATA was there. I was with Steve Viselli, Michael Belzer. There's a picture on our website with me and Steve Viselli and Michael Belzer. We were with the Women's Bureau people, and they really understood what was going on. I was trying, and Raman was trying to inform them how this thing was getting manipulated with this accredited apprenticeship. We almost had them really understanding, and at the last 11th hour minute, they put CRST in the press piece for the accredited apprenticeship program. Somebody called at the last minute and added CRST to the press piece. Somebody from a big association. I think we can all guess who that is. CRST has the most rapes of any truck driver training carrier, in my opinion. And you can Google how many have been in the history of the last 20 years, 15, 18 years. Many, thousands, a lot. And this is how this industry is. Oh, you got in trouble for discrimination? You got a bunch of rape cases against you? We're going to give you good PR. We're going to put you on the best carrier to drive for list. How's that sound? You're going to be in all of our press pieces to give you good PR because people are dumb and they're going to believe us. So that's why it's really important for the drivers that are on social media right now to keep talking. Whatever your big issue is, keep talking about it. Keep going. There is one evil empire, and that is these big associations that go and do this and cover for companies where they know rape is going on, where they know murders are going on in these team driving fleets. And they have conned every administration so that they can get their way and keep doing it. It's basically just like, you know, it's just a cheap labor source of people they can exploit. That's all it is. All right, I'm done shoveling shit. I gotta finish brushing this horse and go. Done. Scout. Don't pout, Scout. Don't pout. I'm gonna brush your butt, okay? All right, bye.